off the cuff ramble time. All the thoughts in my head, I got to try to gather them up before I start filming again. It's actually one of the harder things to do. I have all these thoughts, then it's like, where do I start and where do I end sometimes? So I'll start this one with something that Petey Green said. What did he say? Something along the lines of, it's really easy to hate somebody, and yet it's at the same time it's so hard, right? Because it is hard. It's hard to hate people. You end up having to pack around all of those negative, murderous emotions that stir up that negative alchemy in you, and it's almost like a magician has turned you into one of those, like, I don't know, you play video games or whatever, right? You can like put spells on the enemy or a drug, and then they'll start attacking all of their own people, right? So that's the kind of alchemy that you get stirred up with all the hatred that's getting pushed nowadays, right? And things are getting pretty critical, I would say. I mean, I don't like to be that negative Nancy. I don't want to be about negativity all the time. So far, the show has been, I think, a balance of me trying to show positive things and be positive, as well as, trying to show the problems. And I talked earlier about like making a couple of channels. I had to come up with how they would look and what they would be like, so I've been waiting on that for a while for the answer to come. It's not something I just sit there and grind about. Just one day the answer just sort of comes. You think about it occasionally and eventually it comes. So I just put up a video by Stuart Wilde. It's just a 6.5 minute comedy of his, and that was one of the things, right, is that comedy is kind of your best tool in all of this. You can disarm people with humor. I was going to talk at length about Dave Chappelle, but since that just crossed and it's in my mind now, I better talk about it quick. That the original Dave Chappelle that ended up being on the Chappelle Show and doing all his early comedies, he was, I think he was uniting people with his comedy because he made light of race all the time, like when he plays that dude who thinks he's the head of the Klan and he thinks he's white and shit. And then I shouldn't even say it. I don't know. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. The nigga family. Oh, I did it. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. Anyway, but it was, the idea of it was to like sort of disarm each other through racial humor, kind of like what Mel Brooks did with Blazing Saddles, I think, too. It's my opinion. But that got scrubbed. He ran off to Africa. He said some shit about they came and tried to put him in a dress, and he wasn't happy with that. He said, why do they always put us in dresses? And he wasn't going to be down with it. And then shortly after that, he left. He talked about, people think that some people are just crazy and it's the dismissive term, and then they don't know what really went on. Someone that you've trusted and known to be just whatever, normal for so long, suddenly goes crazy. There's got to be something more to that, right? And then when he came back, his humor turned into the anti-SJW style stuff, and I mean, I liked it. I thought it was funny, but you can see how it went from unifying to divisive. So I mean, I think he had some heavy shit on him, or maybe it was just designed like this. It's hard to say for sure, but I mean, it's definitely what I say. It went from being something unifying and perhaps probably even healing to people, and it went right back into the Hegelian or the Malthusian way of doing things again, which is to keep everybody at fucking in turmoil and at odds with each other, right? So I guess all that stuff said, to sort of get back on track, the thoughts that I was just kicking around in my mind was like the spiritual difficulties that we have when it comes to, say, a concept of like the warrior's wisdom, where maybe you've been in some fights and you've noticed that it didn't really actually help anything. Like if you study samurai, at first they were all hardcore warrior class, and then by the 15th, 14th century, they were all Buddhist Zen. Maybe a little later than that, but they started to become more peaceful, right? They didn't want to engage in the horrors of war anymore. It was only those who had been through it that really wanted to go against that grain and that style. So, but I mean, either way, we find it so easy to hate people, and yet it's so hard on us to do it. You make an enemy of yourself and of everyone, right, when you do that shit. And so you have to sort of live a life of faith, and what I think that entails, partly anyway, is the first thing you have to believe on it with no conditions. You just believe. You just cast aside your disbelief and you choose to humble yourself to believing, and then you walk towards that belief. And so if your belief is that all man can be healed and live in peace with each other, then that's the way you have to see it and the way you have to act, and you have to walk towards it as if it's already there, like you've already got it, and hold on to that. Because one thing I've really noticed since all of this has happened is that I remember I got a friend who went brutally Marxist, started doing meth, started wearing makeup and bras, the whole 9 yards that goes along with all of the sicknesses that's involved with those, poor useful idiots that are being used right now as political puppets. What was I gonna say? Damn it. Being used, political puppets, easy to hate when it's actually so hard. Trying to walk towards, I guess, people like him, maybe like they're saved too, even though they're misled and misused right now. Is the only way to approach them. I remember trying to tell him, that I remembered seeing the first instance that I'll tell you that I remember seeing of anybody wearing a red hat got attacked was a big white dude wearing like a nice fancy $1,000 leather jacket, maybe more than $1,000, and he had nice black leather gloves on too, and glasses and gray hair, and he walked up to a young white girl, Blondie. He walked up to her and he straight up sprayed her in the fucking face with pepper spray for wearing that red hat. And to me, that was the first time I remembered, because I was glued to the screen back in those days. That was the first time I remembered seeing any physical violence done to anybody for wearing the red hat. And then the whole KKK narrative supporting him came out, and so anybody like that is part of the Klan, right? That's that this whole thing has been designed and rigged upon, is all race. Everything's been made racial over the last 8-12 years, something like that. Well, it's probably longer. I shouldn't even say that. It's a constant narrative. It kind of dies off and then it resurfaces again, and it's the exact same thing over and over again, right? Now, it doesn't mean you have to actively go up towards these people, and I wouldn't, because some of them are dangerous. They're very convinced in their plight and their fight, and there isn't really much you can do. But if they come in your path, it's just a matter of walking towards them in the same way that you'd want to be treated. And if you can treat them like, as good as you'd want to be treated, then, and even show them a little bit of sympathy, and I would, because I feel sorry for them that they're so misled, then you have a chance at maybe getting them to listen and maybe, try to make some peace again. It's kind of up to everybody on the street to do it, because it's everybody at the top who's making everyone dance with their media and their politics. And the people down below that are being affected by it, they are the zombies right now. They are mindless drones just being enacted upon by the will of someone else's creation. Or, so that's about the only thing I can see. And I don't think it's possible to do it all at all. People have been trying to do this for a long time, but there's always a motive of evil that gets in the way, and it's powerful. Evil is strong in this world. Evil has all kinds of things to give to people in this world if it just does their bidding for them. It'll give you the whole world, but it'll also take it all away from you in a New York second too, though, right? Look at all the stars who die when they start talking sense. Michael Jackson got whacked. He was starting to talk sense. Dave Chappelle got put on the run till he came back and did what they wanted him to do, which was be put into this narrative of, left versus right style thing or whatever, which is the age-old narrative that used to be global and now it's become national. It's happening inside of all of our countries or whatever, right? So yeah. But, one of the best things that I took out of the Tao maybe was they have this idea that if you can heal your own family, if you start to catch on to all the ways of love, true love, then that's like an unconditional. It doesn't let its feelings get involved. It understands love as a function more than a touchy-feely emotional thing. The touchy-feely love that you feel is your carnal love. It's what you feel for someone that gets you all hot and bothered so you can go make more kids. That's carnal love. There's a time when everyone will hurt you, even your own kids, probably. or your spouse that you made them with, probably these days. You know you're going to be at odds with them, and you can live in two ways. You can either choose the ways of death, and you can fight and fight and fight with them until you don't have anything left, like I've done. And I'm telling you this stuff about myself, and I'm going to do another more detailed version of all the shit I've been through. Why? So I can show you that you can also be healed from it too, right? That's the way the new channels are going to go, and I've talked about them. Okay, so it comes circle back, back to the fucking new channels. So I think one is going to be called Warriors Wisdom. I want it to be clickbaity. I want people to see the title and to just want to click it when I make comments to try to advertise the channel. Just going out there and talking to other people's channels and trying to pick people up, right? And it's going to be based around like Stuart Wilde's sort of teaching. Now, Stuart Wilde is just borrowed teachings too. He's nothing unique, but he was unique for his age. I mean, time of living. And I think he puts a lot of things into perspective. I think that he's actually, extremely spiritual. And I don't think he's trying to take anybody down a false path. I've got another video from him that I was able to put back up that I had to download recently with an inadequate downloading tool compared to the one that I had. I'll get into that in a second. But I'll post that tomorrow, and it's called Warriors Wisdom is the name of the video. But it shows how you're going to have to walk bravely towards people, and the bravery will actually have to be against yourself too, that you might have to humble yourself a little bit too. It takes a lot of guts to face yourself. That's the one thing about everybody sort of spending time alone, whether you did it on your own or the pandemic did it for you, that spending that 40 days alone in the desert is a requirement for you to sit around with no one but yourself until you start to realize all the things that maybe you've done or have had done to you, and you have to figure out how to heal those things. And the biggest trick is to find the traumas that have caused you to maybe be where you are now, and to forgive those people that caused them in your life, because they didn't come up with those traumatic methods on their own. Something probably happened to them too. One thing I think about is that all of our ancestors came out of just thousands of years of monarchical slavery, and we probably have a lot of accumulated, inherited genetic, not quite genetic, I can't remember the name for it, but you pass down your mental illness to people that you're around because you can't help it. You're already damaged. That's all you know in one way. So, good things too, but you end up passing down your damage to your kids, and they keep passing it down too. So we're trying to come out of that damage, and they're trying to put us back into it again. That's my thoughts. If you look at the last year, how much mental illness that there has been over the world, they're re-traumatizing everybody with this. Okay, there's been no help. There's been nothing good that's come out of all of this stuff over the last year. You're being demoralized. And so I'm going to try to remoralize and reinvigorate you with my talks through the new channel of Warriors Wisdom. Let me know in the comments what you think of the name, or if it might need a little bit of work. I was thinking it would be The Warriors Wisdom. Something like that sort of sounds maybe a little bit more alluring. But that, Warriors Wisdom isn't about going out and hurting people. It's going out and loving people that you hate. Because that's a hard motherfucker to do, right? You see people harming you, and you see people harming people you love. It's hard to approach them with love. But one thing's for sure is if you approach them with disdain and claim their disdain, that is, you identify it and call it out to them, they will probably turn around and use it against you, which is what I was saying about the first attack with the Trump shit, where that girl got attacked by that older gentleman, which seems like a staged attack if you look at it. You think about it, that's got certain things written all over it, in my opinion, to get this rolling in the first place. The whole world's a stage, and that camera just happened to be rolling to show that incident go down and let it continue on from there. But you got to recognize that, acknowledge that, and then don't let them win, right? That's them trying to turn their alchemy on you. Use your alchemy against yourselves. They've manipulated the masses with this shit. Everyone's brainwashed. It's brutal to watch billions of people be brainwashed. And they'll all say I'm crazy, but I don't think I'm crazy. I think I see what's up. The other channel is going to be called, I was thinking of the historical red pillaging. So it was kind of like a play on words, right? Red pillage is to like receive the red pill, but then red pillaging is also like the bloody pillaging of history, because therein lies the red pill. So that channel is going to be where all the problems exist, and then the other channel is going to be more like about solutions, right? Because problems are important. People need to see and understand the reality of the world they live in, that it's not the way that they're taught, that there is something in the background that runs everything, and that we can identify it and we can choose to live among it and not live with it at the same time, if that makes sense. Let's pause for a moment and think if there's anything else I need to add to this. I don't think so. I'll probably leave this channel up too or whatever, and it'll sit idle after I figure enough work has been done to get people over to the other channels after I create them. Oh, and I lost everything, by the way. I got locked out on my computer. It's a good thing I uploaded as much as I did, because I can just go get it all again. But I took my computer in to get fixed, told him make sure you save all the videos. He asked me which drive. I guess I told him the wrong drive and it all got deleted. So all the shit that I've been archiving for 8 months now is fucking gone. I was devastated all over again. I was devastated when I couldn't get back into my computer, and I was devastated when after I got it back and it was functional again, that all my shit was gone. So I got to start over, but that's okay, because I think it's got to hit a place of it being a little bit more streamlined so that it has a beginning and an end. You could keep adding to that shit in a sense almost forever, but there should be enough key stuff that within maybe 20 hours of footage, maybe something like that, you can probably get enough information across to people to sort of get them to snap out of it. Those who are willing to, those who are curious, those who've had enough. None of us believed in anything beyond what we were told to begin with, and now a lot of us do. So everyone has to start somewhere. But I think the solution is the same. It has to be a unified theory. And that's the only thing that I'm going to let my tongue confess anymore, is just good things towards people. I'll identify bad things. I'll probably do my own videos alongside all of the documentaries about some of the things that I think, despite a lot of the popular theories right now. Just to sort of make everything nice and cohesive, to wrap the whole puzzle into one complete piece, glued together, the whole 9 yards. Looks just like the picture on the box. So it's a matter of filling all those pieces in to get that whole picture. And there's some things I might have to chime in and add myself on, because I don't think anybody's really identified certain things the way I personally see them right now. This video is getting a little bit long and I'm running out of space, honestly. I haven't cleared anything off of this, so I think that's good enough for now anyway. Tomorrow will be another day and another video, and then I'm going to put up Warrior's Wisdom too for everyone to look and think about that. In the next video I'll talk about it briefly before it cuts into it. He nails it, you don't really hear it, but he sounds more like Jesus when he talks the things that he says. It's more like, you don't have to follow religion, but if it were, you just have to follow like spiritual shit towards each other, really, because your whole planet is your church. Your body's your temple. God lives in you. Do right by each other. Pretty simple, but so hard at the same time, isn't it? You get stirred up by your own alchemy, and people who are wizards come and stir that alchemy up in you with their spells. They spell words, speak words, and then you get caught. You get trapped in that emotional fight with yourself and with each other, right? So we got to get out of that. So yeah. Anyway, that's good for now. Peace out. Talk to you soon. So I haven't put any videos out either. Like I said, I'm pretty much all out of everything. It all disappeared. Oh well. Fall down, get back up again. No problems, only solutions. Something like that.